Hi there, this is Solitaire Ronan from Solitaire Ronan Films, and welcome to another double take. Today's double take features Lemmon from 1973 and Buddy Buddy from 1981. I was only really familiar with Buddy Buddy, which is Billy Wilder's last film, before I actually realised it's a remake of the French film Lemmon, starring Jacques Brel and the wonderful Lino Ventura from 1973, which translates as The Troublemaker, or literally a pain in the ass. And doing a wee bit of research, I didn't actually realise there was a remake again called Lemmon, a French film in 2008. So I just thought it would be interesting to compare the 1973 and the 1981 film. I haven't seen the 2008 version, and just kind of see the differences. It's a basic story of a hitman, assassin, who has a job to bump off a witness who's going to give evidence at a trial. So he goes to a hotel, but unfortunately the person next to him in the adjoining room wants to commit suicide because his wife's left him. And the hitman gets involved and embroiled while he's trying to do his job with this troublesome fellow in the next room. It's full of farce. Both films are funny, both films have their flaws, but it's just interesting. Well, I think it's interesting. You might not think it's interesting, just to have a little chat about them. So the 1973 film is not very glamorous. It's kind of, there's overcast skies. It's kind of a grey film. It's more gritty. It's shorter. It's only like 80 minutes long. It does have a great couple of central performances by Jacques Brel and Lino Ventura. Obviously I'm more familiar with Lino Ventura. He pulls wonderful frustrated faces as he's just trying to do his job. It's a much more workmanlike film. You can see why it perhaps has flown under the radar, but I would say it's probably the better film. Like I said, Buddy Buddy is Billy Wilder's last film in 1981. He did co-write it with I.A.L. Diamond, his amazing writing partner. But very much like Wilder's later films, like 1, 2 and 3, like Avanti and Fedora, it's probably a little overlong. It's still not that long a film, but it feels a little bit overlong. It stars Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, so it obviously has that going for it. Walter Matthau technically steals the show, and you have Klaus Kinski as the doctor that Jack Lemmon's wife Paula Prentice runs to and has an affair with. Jack Lemmon, who I absolutely adore, he does give one of his roles. Yes, he's supposed to be annoying, but you feel he is doing a little bit much, and you do feel like the actors know that it's kind of not Billy Wilder's best stuff, but there's still a lot to like about it. But if you're expecting Billy Wilder at his best, this isn't really that film. It's noticeable in the 1973 version. The doctor that the wife runs away to is just a psychiatrist, but in the 1981 film he's a sex therapist. Of course, we all know Klaus Kinski liked his sex anyway, so it's perfect casting for Klaus Kinski, who gives another moving, subtle performance. He has a wonderful name in the film, which I seem to have completely forgotten about. So even though, you know, Wilder in the 60s was kind of progressive about mentioning sex and things like that, by 1981 this does feel a little bit forced. You know, there's jokes about premature ejaculation and blow up dolls and, you know, other things that just feel a little bit forced. You know, one of the flaws in both films is kind of the wives. You kind of feel, why did they ever see anything in Jack Lemmon and Jack Brel in the first place? But that's a kind of minor aside. But obviously the real stars of these films are Lino Ventura and Walter Matthau, because they're doing a lot of reacting to the chaos that's around them. Both of them can really pull wonderfully frustrated faces. You know, there's the farce of, you know, Klaus Kinski has come to take the husband away and sedate him, and of course he gets the wrong guy, and then that affects the assassin's ability to actually fire his rifle, which is very funny. Lino Ventura, especially when he gets put in a straitjacket and sedated, the faces he pulls are very funny. It's noticeable that the the films end differently. The 1973 film ends in a more realistic way, shall we say, to the kind of Hollywoodization ending, perhaps, of the Billy Wilder film. And again, you know, you feel as though there's a little bit of forced kind of comedy. I mean, there's Walter Matthau drops some F-bombs, there's toplessness in it, which is quite shocking for a Billy Wilder film, even though, like I said, he was pushing boundaries in the 60s. But again, despite their flaws, I mean, the plot is really thin. As the assassin thwarts or prevents a couple of suicide attempts, then obviously tries to kill the pain in the ass, but then that gets circumvented by a pregnant couple being escorted by the police to the hospital, and then they have to step in and give them a lift, much to the chagrin of the assassin characters. Again, I haven't seen the 2008 version, but certainly these two films are well worth seeing. They both have a certain amount of charm. There's a lovely moment where Walter Matthau is phoning the mob to maybe say he needs to be paid a bit more because security's a lot higher. And there's a whole Mr. Green, Mr. White, Mr. Brown thing, which is obviously a little bit of a nod to Taking a Pelham 123, which obviously Tarantino would use later for Reservoir Dogs. But personally, as much as I love Billy Wilder, and I think he's number 5 in my director's list currently, this is not one of his best films. But because it's Lemmon, because it's Kinski, because it's Matthau, there's still a lot to like about it. Even though it is flawed, it's a much brighter film. you can tell that the hotel rooms are sets, whereas the French film is a bit more realistic, it's a bit more gritty. And because it is only 80 minutes, I think it just, this is not the plot for a 2-hour film. Not that Buddy Buddy is 2 hours. I think that's under 100 minutes as well, but it still feels over long. I just feel the French film is the better film, but again, that's just my opinion. But what I would say, they're definitely both worth checking out, especially if you're a Lena Ventura fan. Because again, the faces he pulls even kind of challenges Walter Matthau and the rubbery face stakes. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know if you've seen Buddy Buddy or Let Him Endure, which character is the biggest pain in the ass, and hopefully you'll join me again for more double takes. This is Solitude Ronin from Solitude Ronin Films, saying thanks very much for watching.